Hey, we're here.
Hey guys.
Welcome to Geeks Get Paid is our new thing, but the new channel is called Get Paid to Geek Out. That's what it was. It had to come to me. I want both of the domains. So welcome to our channel. If this is new for you, we're happy to have you here. We're gonna dive into, I guess, a little bit about what we're doing. We're gonna call this like a relaunch video at the moment,
Yes.
and educate our audience on what it is that we're doing right now. So, and we have an invitation for you as well if what we're saying resonates. So I'm Susan Leonardson. This is Andrea. And we are part of Team Geek Out. And we love to help people turn their expertise into educational digital programs that they can then use with their audience, and their customers can achieve transformation and get awesome results, and just change their little bit of the world, which is so fun. It's awesome to do. So I'm going to shut up for a minute. Andrea, what do you want to add before we dive in?
No, it's so true. And it's funny because, doing YouTube lives is we're so used to Facebook lives, YouTube lives. I'm like, okay, I'm on my phone, I'm looking for comments, and I'm like, oh, it's so different.
Hopefully we see your comments coming in. We're using StreamYard. If you're curious about what we're using to stream right now, I think that we'll see them when they come in here.
Yeah. And I have to say, even though, I love venturing more and more into the YouTube world. So I'm excited for tomorrow's workshop and what we're going to be doing today.
So a little bit about us. We have been doing what we do for over 5 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Which is helping people that have this amazing thing that they want to go share with the world, and helping them to basically extract it from their brains, lay it out into a experience that they can package up and go sell. We have been working with a lot of entrepreneurial type of people. Usually they've already started a business, or they're on the path to starting their business, and they're like, I just don't really know how to do this. But we have made a slight change that is of interest to you if you are a fellow YouTuber, or you're creating content for the purpose of sharing your expertise with the world. Because we realize that that's a path. Like us stuck in our little bubble, we're like, everyone that we need to serve is right here. It's like, no, there's like this whole other world of people that need us. And so that's why we're making this shift. And Andrea, you're going to speak a lot more about this tomorrow, but do you want to speak to a little bit about the two paths is where I was going, of like, there is this path that we've been serving, but there's this other path that needs us.
Yeah. So I think, everybody who we work with are what we affectionately call bootstrap engineers, or entrepreneurs, not engineers, bootstrap entrepreneurs who they're not reliant upon investors. They're reliant upon their own resources to create a business of their making. But what we noticed is that, like Susan said, for the longest time, we've been serving people, which we would call is like path option A. And that would be what we call people who are doing an info product first path. So they've created, usually it's a group coaching program or some kind of small group, high ticket coaching program that they have directly been working with their audience. And they've been creating a product to help somebody make progress in their world. And that's how they started. And then they all of a sudden realize, like, oh my gosh, I have an amazing product. And I have people now who can go through it, and I have to let the world know. So then they start playing the content game, and they start to create more content, and they dial up their marketing system. And then they start to build at scale. And that's kind of path A. And that's what that's the audience who we've been serving most, the people who are deep experts on that info first path. What we are pivoting now to, which Susan alluded to, is the people who they started a little bit different. They're still deep experts. They've probably got paid for their expertise in some way, shape, or form, usually through maybe like a service or even in business, in like a corporation. And they decided to do the side gig, where they're creating content to share with the world about their expertise. And usually they start on YouTube. There's a couple other long form content platforms, but usually YouTube is the place where most of them start. So they start doing on YouTube what used to be kind of like a side hobby or a side hustle. And then it's grown, and they're realizing like, oh, I actually can make a little bit of side cash or like decent cash on YouTube. So I'm just going to keep playing that game. And they've optimized, and they've assembled this following. But they're like, wait a second, I can on average get, 2 to 12 cents per customer on YouTube. And I've heard about this like info product game where on average I can at least get $1 for every person. So maybe I should do something with the audience I've actually created. So they start to now, they've created this amazing content. They have a following, but now how do you turn the following that you've had, who have predominantly been entertainment-based relationships, into buying relationships? So now they start venturing into the info product world, which most everybody thinks it's a course and it's not. But they go into the info product world and they're like, how do I actually now create an info product that matches the life that I've created as a content first path? So, and those are the people who we're really targeting and talking to tomorrow.
Yeah. So what we thought we would do now is give you like a little bit of a taste of like, because we have this 5-step system. Andrea's going to be diving in to the first two steps of the system in more depth tomorrow. But we want you to know, like, is this right for you? Does it make sense for you to come register for our workshop? If you are interested, we put the link in the description. You can go there at any point and check that out. It's only $7 to join. Like we need a little bit of like skin in the game from people that come and register, but we also like, it's like, it's $7. It's not much. Like it's a cup of coffee. Just come if it's of interest to you. So what I'm going to do right now, we're just going to go through those 5 steps briefly, and then you'll know like, oh, this is what they're talking about. This is the game that they're playing. Okay, now I know if it's for me or not. So this is our framework. So we'll go through the 5. So align. This one's fun because this helps make sure that you, as the creator that you are, as the person with the expertise, like you likely already have an idea and a vision of how you want your life to be, how you want your business to be. How much do you, if you start a business or launch a product to your audience, how involved do you want to be? You probably already have an idea of what you would want that to look like. And this step is helping to make sure that what you go create is not like wildly out of control to something that does not at all fit into the life that you had envisioned for yourself. So this is making sure that what you go create is in alignment with you, but it's also so that you can make sure what you create is in alignment with the people that you are wanting to serve. It's like all around. Let's make sure that like you, the creator's happy, your audience is getting what they need, and everyone in the situation, it's like a win-win-win situation. Everybody's good. Anything you would add to that, Andrea?
I think we were having this really good discussion today, Susan, and I think it aligns, no pun intended, with this. And that is, as a bootstrap entrepreneur, you have to use the resources that you have. That is the name of the game. And one of your most valuable resources are your skills, your talent, your ability, and your passion. And so that's why we are so intense on it has to start with align, because it has to align with the resources that you want to give, that you have to give, and that you're passionate about giving. And if it doesn't have those in mind, we have seen time and time again that the business will fail. If those things aren't at the center of the decision-making process. And so getting really clear about what those things are, that's the purpose of Align.
100%. It's so critical. That's why we start with it.
Yeah.
And Andrea has this amazing way of doing it that it's so fun too. We always get such praise when we take people through this process of making sure everything is in alignment. And it's like the highest praised thing that we do, which is so fun. Okay, so the next one is craft. And Andrea, I'm going to let you speak to this one. I'll quickly intro it so I don't put you on the spot. But craft is it's essentially like taking the thing that you're already good at, the skill that you have, your expertise, and crafting it into an experience and a valuable product.
Yeah. I think where most people get this wrong is, especially if you have been sold or you are contemplating just creating a course with your expertise, what normally that ends up being is an info vomit model. And the info vomit model is great. You can make money off of it. Don't get me wrong. But if you actually care about your people who you're selling to doing the thing, and then you getting the return in terms of the testimonials or the accolades or the recommendations or the ascensions into your world. It can't be a content only info vomit model. It needs to be able to you need to be able to create an information product that, again, first aligns, but then second, it actually infuses good principles of engagement. And it's a product that's not just viable, but it's something that your people will actually do and like and come back for more. And that's all what craft is it's more than just packaging and price pointing an offer. And it's more than just, let me take all the knowledge in your head and dump it into something, right? It's pulling all that together and then adding this third piece of what we know from great game design and great product design to drive behavior and engagement with your people. And it takes those three things and helps you to be able to do that.
Yeah. So that's the first two parts of the system. Mm-hmm. Those are the two we're primarily going to be focusing on during the workshop tomorrow. So you can go to geeksgetpaid.com/cashflow to register for that. Mm-hmm. But those are the two that we'll be focusing on during this workshop. The rest of these, it really is about like going and implementing it now. So the next one is structure, which is bringing it all together into a system, but it also includes bringing attention to your offer. You can't just go and build it and then magically people are going to appear and buy it from you, right? Now, you as a creator, you already have like the hardest part figured out. You have figured out how to get attention. You have figured out how to get people to listen to you. And that is hands down the hardest part of business. Mm-hmm. So if that's you are already so close. Now it's just about creating the product, putting it into a system and a structure that is easy for you to deliver and also in alignment with how you want to be showing up. Mm-hmm. And so that's what structure is. And then of course there's launch. This one, again, now you're putting it out into the world. The game doesn't end as soon as you launch. You know, it's not like you're hitting this launch button and it's live and it's like, oh, okay, I'm done. We're good. I did that thing. What can I do next? No, we actually call this launch and learn, but we wanted to focus in on the launch for the system. But the and learn part is so important too, because there's getting feedback from people. There's making improvements. You kind of launch with your best guess. We have an amazing process of making your best guess an amazing guest guess. But to a certain point, like you have to just launch. You can't wait for everything to be perfect. And so launch and learn. And this goes for the actual process of selling the product, but also the process of fulfilling on what you promised you would fulfill on. So, and actually we have a client right now in this phase who they had built up 700,000 subscribers when they came to us, and they're like, we need to take this to the next level. We need to go sell, we've been thinking about this for a while. We want to create some sort of course to sell to our people because I think that they would really like it. And I think they would really enjoy learning in an environment that isn't just our free YouTube content, where we can go a little bit deeper and we can take them step by step. And the benefit of creating a product like that is that you're now in control of their experience. Mm-hmm. Like in YouTube, you're putting out content, but it's kind of like a choose your own adventure and path for them, right? They get to click and they get to get distracted. They get to watch videos out of order and it may not make sense, which is why content can be free, but people pay to implement, because you now have, like, you get to control the experience that they are going through and you get to walk them through step by step. It's like, no, don't do that thing yet. You got to go do this thing. Focus on this first before you go to do that. And you get to design. I'm kind of going back to the craft step, but you get to design that experience. And so when you go into the launch and learn phase, you're making sure, did the best guess of how to design that experience and taking them through step by step. Is it working? Is it, are people getting what they need? Are they getting stuck in a step? Do we need to adjust a little bit? That is the power of launch and learn. The game doesn't end as soon as you launch.
Yeah, that is so well said, Susan. You captured it perfectly. I think I have to circle back too on one thing that's important for the audience. And that is, the reason why we focus on people who we affectionately call geeks is because geeks usually are afflicted by a couple things. One is they're unreasonably passionate about learning something that to a depth that the rest of the world does not care about. But they would want to learn from you. And it's something that you would always do in your spare time. It's something that you are innately qualified to do. But oftentimes, another kind of a common thing amongst geeks is that you don't actually like the attention on you. You don't necessarily want to be loud and out there and like, look at me, look at me. It usually is about like, I just want to teach my thing. Like, that's all I care about. I just want to teach my thing. And so when you enter into marketing world, it's like you get hit with this giant wall of everything that is not of like, be the attractive character, be loud, everything's great, and make big promises that you can't back up, like, and that just, I think, hits at our beautiful geeks, their sense of right and wrong, their sense of the way they want to be in the world, their sense of how they want to engage with their audience. And so Susan she does such an amazing job of what we call affectionately marketing like a geek. So in this structure and in this launch, you really get to refine that because we don't subscribe to being the loud talking head. And we 100% think that you are a geek and you get paid because you are a geek, not because you're a loud, boisterous marketer. And it's just a fundamental principle in our world.
Yeah. And that's so key. It's like, you don't have to be a salesperson to sell a product to your audience. You just have to show up for them like you already are in creating your content. And then you get to just let them know that it exists. That's all that you have to do. It's not that hard. There's some, processes and ways to do that, but that's the basics of what you're doing. Again, the hardest part was getting them to pay attention to you.
Yeah. And you've already done it as a YouTuber.
Okay. So the last one is respond. And that's where we get to now go act on all of those observations we were making during that launch and learn phase of like, oh, okay, now we're getting that feedback from the system, from the customer, from the audience that maybe they aren't buying, like all of those different areas. And now we get to go respond. This is like the looping back of like, okay, now what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to improve what we did before? And it just keeps building and building and building. And soon you have this amazing system where you're not only just building your audience, but you're building a business at the same time. And in today's world, it is best to build them at the same time. Our clients who I mentioned earlier, where I said they had 700,000 when they came to us, in the time we were building their program for them and working with them, they hit that $1 million subscriber list or subscriber mark. And if they had waited, and you probably don't have that many subscribers, and that's okay. Even if you have, on this channel, literally right now, if you go look at how many subscribers we have, it's 700 and something. Like we have less than 1,000 at the moment, and we get business from our channel. You do not need to have a big audience. But if they had waited even longer between when, like, they're, oh, let's wait till we hit 1 million before we go, get their help to launch our program. That was months gone by that they could have been doing something. Now think about where you're at, and like, what if they had started where you're at now? What if they had launched a product to their audience way earlier on and capitalized on all of those views and subscribers that had been accumulating over that time, where it took them to grow from 1,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers? Think of how many times over they could have sold their course in that amount of time. Like, it's craziness. Like, it is better to start now before you get huge. Like, you do not need to be, and you don't ever have to get huge. You do not ever have to get to the 1 million. You don't even have to get to multiple six figures or six digits. What am I trying to say? Like, subscribers, not monetarily, for this system to work for you. So grow them together.
And there's usually this term, right, of the 1,000 true fans. is really all you need in order to have a pretty successful, thriving business, which we subscribe to 100%. I also think in this respond, a lot of times when people they think that the once they launch, it's the end, because I think they put all their eggs in this basket and they're like, if this isn't successful, then nothing's going to be successful. We try really hard to reframe that narrative in our world. And that's why we call it launch and learn and then respond. And it's because a lot of times the best, most successful products that we've seen are not the first launch products. It's the second that are either an iteration of the first one and it just improved because of what they responded to after they launched, or it's a new product that they're happier with and their customers are happier with. And so again, I think that it's this respond period is one of the most important if you're really going to get serious about being a bootstrap entrepreneur that's going to have an info business part of your offering. It's critical. In our world, a lot of times we call it, the alpha launch is never like the most successful launch. It's the after the alpha launch that is where really you see the returns, not just monetarily, but also joy factor and your people loving it.
Yeah. Well, and that's true with the with the client. I'm going to keep the theme with the same client. The client that we just helped launch, and they're in this launch and learn phase. They launched a first product. It's not the end. They're like, oh, okay, that was fun. Now we understand how this process works because we launched this, little smaller thing out into the world. Not that you have to start with a small thing, but they chose to. And they're like, oh, okay, we know the game now. Let's go do the next thing. And their next idea is going to be incredibly awesome. And they're already like jumping on it. They're like, okay, we're going to go do this. And it's like, they're going from, I would say like from a 3 to a 9 in what they're doing in their next product. And it's going to be so cool. But
it was just the fuel they needed to do that, because they did.
Yeah. They just need to know what the process was. And that's what we do. This framework, this system that we have just presented to you is the system that we took them through. And you just need to know the path. And that's what we're here to give you, is to give you the path. Like, it's your genius, it's your expertise that you're putting out into the world and serving your audience with. And you could just keep doing what you're doing. You could just keep creating content and trying to make an impact by just growing your numbers and your viewers. Monetizing, that gets a little tricky. Like, if you're going to monetize by using AdSense or getting sponsorships and partner deals, you have to, like, the game that you're playing is grow your audience as big as you can. If that's not of interest to you, though, we're here to tell you there's an easier way. And that is, you don't have to grow a huge audience if you don't want to, but you can, just like our clients. And you can make a bigger impact with your audience by going this path as well. It's easier to monetize, and it's a greater impact, and you get to serve your audience in a better way.
100%. Yeah. Because I think, when you go down the path of monetizing just via ads, or an affiliate deal or sponsorship, I think at the end of the day, the game that you're playing is you're still an entertainer, right? Like, the relationship you have with your audience is one of, first and foremost, entertainment. I think what we invite you into is that if you've started to, create a checklist or a to-do list of how to incorporate what you're teaching, or you've actually started to do like a how-to guide, right? What you're dangerously dancing on is an info product that's actually interested in your audience doing the thing, which makes you not just an entertainer, but it makes you an educator and a guide and a teacher, which is very different than an education relationship. Than an entertainment relationship. So if you've started to do that, then like, come tomorrow and learn this framework, because it is the way to be able to further step into, to your point, Susan, greater impact, meaning I actually want my people to do the thing and I want to help them do the thing. I don't just want to be an entertainer and hope that maybe one day, someday we'll take my stuff and use it. But it's up to them.
Yeah. We have a mission that we're stating within our actually it's written out somewhere on our site, that we want to, like we said at the beginning of this live stream, we have been doing this for 5 years. We're pivoting to serve an audience of creators because we see the struggle of just not knowing how to do it. And so we are on a mission to help 1,000 of you content creators to be able to do this. And that starts with you signing up for our workshop tomorrow, which we're really excited about. So geeksgetpaid.com/cashflow will get you to the workshop. And it is a 4-hour workshop, but we prefer doing it all in one session like that rather than spreading it out over multiple days. It is a workshop. We're not just going to be talking at you the whole time. We actually have you start to do things and make those little steps in getting to the goal of creating your own product, launching it to your audience. And as I said, we're going to dive into the first 2 steps of this framework tomorrow.
Yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be so exciting. And on that note, okay, I have to say, so the sun is like, I'm in my office, right? And I haven't quite figured out my blind system. So the sun is coming up, but I think it's so appropriate. It's like the clouds are parting and angels are singing. It's like, oh, come to the workshop.
And meanwhile, you're like slowly slowly leading away from the sun. That means it's 4:00. It's time to be done. Sun is on my face. It's quitting time. I love it. Awesome. Okay. Well, we so much appreciate you for being here and watching. Sign up for the workshop if what we said resonated with you. And if you're not quite ready to take that step, like subscribe to our channel, stick around. We have a lot of content coming for you as we are entering into this new phase of serving you guys. And we're really excited about it. So stick around if you're not quite ready for that step. And we would love to see you here in our comments as well.
Love it.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.